in live event as Regenerate X. Today we will be talking about decentralized human organizations. We will discuss how we can regenerate technology in service to humanity and to the life of planet. And for this event, as always, we have special guests from Hypha and Seeds to showcase the power of DHOs and their role in co-creating a more regenerative future. Let me first welcome Alex Pratt. He is a global innovator, growth strategist, and serial entrepreneur who created Hypha and Seeds. His lifelong mission is to create a more equitable and regenerative world. Alex is passionate about financial well-being, future of work, and regenerative finance. He has received 5 prestigious Global Design Awards, including a Webby Award and 4 Gold and Silver AVA Awards. Welcome, Alex. Another precious speaker of today is Franz Almayer. Franz is founding member and co-creator at Integrity, Earth, Hypha, Seeds, and DigiHub Liechtenstein, with a background in biomedical engineering and health policy, planning and financing. Franz has dedicated his life to reshaping and repurposing money so that it serves a world in which people and the planet thrive. Welcome, Franz. And Ronnie Patel is also with us today. Ronnie is conscious capital entrepreneur with a passion for creating healthier governance and financial systems for the planet. As a co-founder of Hypha DAO, he is working towards a global economic and governance system to regenerate our planet. Ronnie has a background in corporate finance and entrepreneurship, having worked for top financial institutions. And welcome, Ronnie. And thank you all for joining us today. And this is Pelin speaking. Let me introduce myself briefly. I have been in business life for 19 years in managing international teams in corporate setting. Then I decided to put the white collar career aside in 2022 and choose an adventure instead, followed my heart, which brought me to Regenerate X. I have previously held marketing positions at industry giants like Turkcell and Arçelik, and I have a portfolio career right now where I have privilege to choose the projects I feel connected to. And these projects include project partner at Regenerate X, community management at Global Gender Equality NGO European Women on Boards, and international marketing role at London-based tech event startup Crowdsol. And today, besides our guest speakers, I'm here with my colleagues and dear friends Janaya and Rudy, and as always, our Heartmaster partner, Marv Radio, musician and a voice coach, who will share his gift of meditation and music. Because in regeneration, we believe in holistic experiences. And during our conversation, I know you will have a lot of questions. I ask that you write those questions in chat, and we will relay those questions to our speakers at the Q&A portion of the event. And now, I'm happy to present you my dear friends and business partners, Janay and Rudy. Janay Atalay is a conscious business designer, cultural innovation strategist, a facilitator, and a leadership mentor. She is a keynote speaker and founder of the Heroines platform and co-founder of Regenerate X. And Rudy DeVale is a keynote speaker on regenerative innovation. He is the founder of Unconditional Man and also co-founder of Regenerate X. He guides, connects, and inspires leaders and entrepreneurs to co-create the emerging regenerative paradigm. A very exciting conversation awaits, so please make sure that you are active in the conversation and in the moment. Regeneration, after all, is a conversation, not a lecture. So, Janaya and Rudy, the stage is yours now.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Pelin, so much for this beautiful introduction. As always, we are so excited to have a beautiful regenerative conversation with our precious guests and with our dear heart masters.
Hi, everyone. So the topic on DAOs and DHOs. So what is it all about? You may wonder, is DAO still a thing? Last year wasn't a very good year for, crypto and maybe projects in blockchain. But we believe that DAOs are actually one of the hottest thing ever. Yeah. Why? Because with everything that is happening around us, all the power structures and power fights now with AI that we see around us, we need more and more systems also that can empower everyone to actually collaborate and co-create together. So what are DAOs and what are DHOs, decentralized human organizations? We will find out today, from our guests. So currently we are experimenting with a DAO, with Hypha, and we are learning and we are on a learning journey. And we believe that the more we learn, actually, the more it becomes obvious that this is one of the technologies of the future. The technology, how we can organize, how we can actually create a new type of organization that is transparent, that includes everyone, or that can be inclusive and can also be very widely adopted. So, Chennai, maybe I'll leave the first question for you.
Thank you so much. So, as early innovation adopters and lovers of design and innovation, we have started experimenting with Hypha about our DHO transition. And so far, the journey is very exciting, very rewarding, just because we started thinking more decentralized, more inclusive, and with more transparency. But for those one of us who are here, maybe first time hearing about DHOs, DAOs, I would like to invite Alex to tell us about what is decentralized autonomous organizations, Alex, and what is your story? Can you please explain?
Thank you so much for the introduction and the invitation, and we are really excited to be here today. And yes, decentralized human organization is a new form of human collaboration. So at Hypha, we started 4 years ago, creating this technology for the creation of a large network of collaboration, between different groups of people willing to change the world, and willing to create a better future for the people and for the planet. So a DHO is really a new vehicle, a new vessel for people to come together and to co-create together. And that's the beauty of the space, because it's really purpose-driven. So this group will define their purpose and will use the technology the way they want, the way they imagine the future can be, and that's the beauty of the space.
Thank you, Alex. I just want to mention something. We hear the words, these sentences, with people, for planet, purpose-driven, co-creation. But dear partners, regenerators here who are listening to us, Hypha is truly invested and dedicated to transforming the cultures, the technologies with these missions. I'm a first-hand experiencer of this transition, from the way they invite and how they created canvas and transition models and guide you step by step to the regenerative futures is truly marvelous, and it is woven in every detail. I just wanted to mention that, Alex.
Thank you, Jenny. Yes, we want to transition from, a space of competition to a space of collaboration, cooperation, coalition. And the beauty of this space is that there's a lot of value, and impact that can be created from this collaboration vision, and mindset and behavior. So that's really the transition that we are proposing, to all the audience here, if they want to experience, what it is to create a DHO, what it is to evolve in this context, of course, reach out to us, and we'll be really happy to help.
Thank you, Alex. Shortly, can you also share with us why to reach out to Hypha? What is your role in this entire space, in this entire ecosystem?
Yeah, so the beauty of entering this space is that you can organize your organization. We call our technology the organization in a box, so that it can be aligned to your purpose, to what you love in life, to what you want to achieve. And coming together around the purpose is really a different way to achieve, this higher purpose. And the beauty of the technology is also that it's on-chain, using the blockchain, leveraging this technology for full transparency, for sharing a lot of knowledge as well inside the space. So we have all the tools, if you like, for you to run your organization, but in a different way, in a more progressive, holistic way, taking into account, as I was saying, the different aspects that can make the world better. And that's really why you could reach out to us. And what Hypha is doing, I am myself involved in the what we call the GTM team, which is the go-to-market team, because we are in the context of launching our beta version in a couple of months. And that's in that context that we want to invite a lot of regenerators to join us, and we can really accompany them into the journey, this transformative journey towards this new ecosystem.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you,
so much.
Alex. Yeah, I think we need to bring in Ronnie and Franz for the next question. Perfect. Because my interest is especially in there is so much hype now, or dystopian hype about AI. And so why can DHOs or DAOs actually help in creating something that it can balance out like everything that is happening now with AI?
Sure, I can have a first stab at that. Yeah, I think that the crux of it is today our systems are a reflection of the systems that we put into it. And at the underlying factor, all of those digital systems are still centralized, and especially AI is being fed information that is still based on a paradigm of artificial competition, of artificial scarcity. So we really need to go back into the roots of what the highest form of technology is, which is the human being in his highest frequency, and put him really at the center of what technology can do. Create value-based networks that are really putting that humanity at the core, and that represents capital in its full dimensions, and it's no longer only reduced by the reductionist meaning of financial capital, which is, in the end of the day, money that is created by a handful of people that determines what the values are for the rest of the planet. So with these technologies, we can really go in at the very heart and create new economic systems that are in service of people and planet. And that's the foundation for a new civilization to emerge, where now these value-based networks can come together, unlock value in its full dimension, and co-create and coordinate at scale. For years, the only option for people wanting economical change has been to beg governments, which again are stuck into this reductionist form of seeing things, this corporate way of being in bed with corporations, essentially. But this is where this new technology comes to place. Web3 now enables us, human beings all across the world who share hearts and who share minds, to create new economical and governance systems that go beyond the nation states. And to also add into that, I think when it comes to artificial intelligence, it's not really a threat. I think the biggest opportunity here is to unlock organic intelligence, which is what we share. We've been, again, fragmented artificially. The rules of the game has been this artificial divide and conquer, which has, left us fragmented. Man-made waters, left, right, north, south, all of this artificial divisions. And with these technologies, we can now really come together and celebrate our differences and unite around what serves everybody else. And from that place of empowerment, it becomes really a peaceful fight. And that's exactly where we're placing our energy and inviting others to join us too.
Oh, wow, Franz, thank you so much. I would like to also invite you to share with us, with your background in regional development and business strategy, what you're saying, we know is not just a utopia, but in reality, we can root this in economic models, and the way that you invite us for peace, not just depend on, but also bring governments, private sector, communities, individuals together. Can you please tell us, with your background and with your vision, how do you see the DHOs or DAOs bringing the new economic prosperity and collaboration but I'm talking about 2 to 5 years, not like a distant future, please.
Great. Yeah, I'd be happy
How,
to
Franz?
give you a
How?
glimpse into that. And it's very, very interesting. I think today our economical system is based on artificial scarcity, which automatically excludes a large portion of the people and forces everybody else to be complicit into a system that doesn't serve them. So you see all across the world people contributing their lives to simply make ends meet, to simply get money that is right now being debased or inflated at the tune of trillions. We see wars being funded, petrochemical being funded in our names. With these new systems, we can create new economical systems that are in alignment to us and that are now accessible as simply as downloading an app, which becomes incredibly inclusive and really enables all of these people's contributions all across the world to be accounted for. So at the core of our technology, we have this model of contribution accounting, which allows us to honor people's gifts, purpose, and passions, and have that all be aggregated into a framework for a shared purpose. And once you start aggregating all of these things, you're essentially unlocking economical systems that are way beyond essentially a paper money that that we have just been forced into, but in reality has not very much value, and it's being exposed how little value it actually has. So as we unlock these new forms of wealth for everybody else, then it becomes a game changer, and that's why we're so excited about this, because we know it can happen much faster than the world out there might feel. Sometimes it feels like a long fight, but it's going to go much faster than we think.
Oh, I beam to that. And one side effect of working with Hypha is that you have the chance to be in the presence of such resilient, actively positive, hopeful people with clear, tangible plans and platforms to also invite you to make this transition to the futures that we believe are possible. So thank you, Franz, for sharing your insights. And with that, I want to bring the topic a little bit about this being hopeful, resilient, and actively engaging in futures where there are not many role models or case studies out there yet, but innovating the domain. Ronnie, as I have been following you and engaging with you, I see you as a pillar, like reminding it's possible, it is there, and you have been resiliently investing, working for projects from learning to land, from Hypha to Seeds on multiple domains, but all sharing similar visions and values. Can you please share with us what keeps you daring to do the right thing every day when there is so much uncertainty and where there are obviously easier ways to make money and what society might call success, but while you are redefining what is success for, inshallah, many generations to come? What is your secret?
Well, thank you for having me here, and it's great to be able to share some thoughts. It's about transcending our existential risks through collective intelligence. When I was at the banks, I got to the top of the profession, and I thought, oh great, it'll be a bunch of smart people working together. And I really wanted to do that. Like, I'm smart, but I like to work with other smart people and do cool things. And it wasn't that when I got to the top of banks. They were still trying to shoot each other. There's a big prize here as we move into this DAO space, or this decentralized human organization space, which a lot of people talk about, decentralization, tragedy of the commons. It's very complicated, difficult to get people to work together. It's somewhat difficult, but we moved through those challenges, and we're using the technology to move through that. But the prize is I get to work every day with the smartest people, and none of us are focused on shooting each other. We're all focused on the common purpose that we have, and we're working together for that purpose. And it's such a beautiful, I mean, it gets me up in the morning, it gets me excited every day. And, you know, we can't underestimate what's coming here. I know there's been a lot of talk about, you know, AI recently, and, you know, we're still talking about putting the human at the center of the technology. AI can inform our decisions. It can inform, you know, what's going on in the crowd, and I think that can be very helpful. But at the end of the day, the human is still making those moves. But really, what we're building here is, and I don't think I go too far when I say it's a truth machine, right? We are building a secure and transparent system. What does that mean? Well, a secure and transparent system is the antithesis of tyranny and corruption. So, you know, one piece is that, then the other piece is you add in the collective intelligence. Now, solving or regenerating our planet is a highly complex problem. I can't hold it in my head. In fact, we all can't hold it in our heads. But what we can do is harness the power of collective intelligence. And that's what you do when you work in a decentralized format. So we're coming together in this decentralized team as a form of collective intelligence. But the prize, and really what we're talking about in Hypha, is not just about DAOs, it's about ecosystems of DAOs. And then so an ecosystem of DAO might have 100 DAOs in it. And they all work together, but then the ecosystems also start to collaborate. And that's when we move to, you know, a thriving civilization change. I think we can all feel on this planet right now, we are accelerating into a change point. Change is painful, and that is going to be very tough for a lot of people on our planet. The best we can do, or the bit we're focused on, is the beautiful sunrise the other side. It's this new system which we can step into. And I know this all sounds a little esoteric and a little bit disjointed from, you know, maybe practical reality, but let me bring it back home as firmly as I can. Over the last 4 years, we've deployed millions of dollars to build technology product as a team. We have a very diverse team across the planet, and we have never used a bank account. Is that about as topical as we can get right now? I think it is. So this is real. This is coming. There will be more DAOs or do's than there are companies on this planet. And, you know, change happens very slowly, then it happens very, very quickly. And us, along with, I'm sure, a lot in your community and yourselves over the last 5 years, in particular, I feel, have been building tools for this regenerative renaissance. And we're in the radical collaboration phase because we're ready. We're ready with these tools. Other people are ready with these tools. And we get to now all play together and develop that, you know, collective intelligence, which will provide us with, you know, solutions to these highly complex global challenges.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Ronnie, for such beautiful words. Let's dive deeper into it. And also for the people looking at this stream, if you have any question, please dive in, put your questions in the chat, and let's make this a collaborative discussion. So diving in a bit deeper into that, because moving from like the paradigm of competition and the paradigm of collaboration is a huge shift. And we need a lot of trust, to actually go through that shift. And what I like personally, like in working in this domain, also with partners like you, is that you are such an amazing people. You're such an amazing team of real humans, you know, like the whole area where I used to work into, of like constantly competing, constantly being efficient, constantly like, you know, on this, you know, stress bomb that we are all are, that is like not sustainable for no one. Yeah. So we crack at a certain moment. So I want to dive in a bit also deeper into like how culturally you see that change, or you make that change happen, because it's not just in the technology, of course. What you are designing is basically what you have been going through as a process of coming from that competitive area towards a collaborative area, and you translate that so beautifully into the technology. So what are the steps? How do you get there, and how do you bring new people in? I want to hear a bit more about that.
Yes, that's definitely a process, an evolutionary process for people to come into that space. But that's what's beautiful. We all went through that, ourselves in the team, and we've seen actually thousands of people, coming into the space with seeds, right? And what's interesting is really the diversity of behavioral resistance, background and beliefs that we all have, and we used to say that we need to unlearn everything and relearn everything, and that's exactly what is happening for all of us. And in the process, of course, beautiful things appear, right? In terms of self introspection, mindfulness, and understanding of the core concepts that drive our life. So, for example, what is money? What is value? Our current traditional economic system is looking at value as being, financial bottom lines, right? And that's the definition of success. We want to encompass in this space all forms of capital, all forms of value created. And we recognize that everybody has a talent, everybody has a passion, and seeing people, coming into the space with this enthusiasm, because now finally they can express themselves, show their talents, and show up, with all their heart in the space, with this idea that they are actually materializing their passion, is beautiful to see, right? And what we have noticed is that not only we are able in the DAO space to attract talents, really high-level talents, but also really motivated people, coming there on to fulfill their purpose, to be really useful into the this higher purpose that we all are striving towards. So that's really beautiful to see this journey, and we are trying to really accompany all the DAOs and all the human beings, that are coming into the space by different experimentations. We are still in early days, as Ronnie was saying. The sun is rising, and we have a lot to learn still, right? So we are experimenting with processes, for example, the flow, what we call the flow, which is a gathering of DAO creators, talking with each other as peers to share challenges, for example, and ideas, and how they can structure the DHO that they want to create. So still really a lot of experimentation, but a lot of compassion in the process, and a lot of human connections as well.
Amazing. So what I hear from you is this is a process of learning together, co-creation, humbling yourself
Yes.
to really see each other with their differences, the diversity and inclusion. It's a continuous process of not just the technology, how it can be designed and developed, but as humans, how can we participate into the making of these new futures by actually becoming collaborators and creators. And this is exactly how we feel in our process. And one of the reasons that attracted us to decide to be with Hypha and starting our DHO. So, yay, we have our own decentralized human organization started. So I want to invite everyone here to reach out to us if you want to be a part of this learning journey, if you have unique skills, passions that you want to bring into this domain, aligned with our regenerative mission, please come in, join our team so we can co-create in a decentralized way where we can decide together on our value systems and how each one will be honored in to create more dignified solutions for, inshallah, many generations to come. With the heroines, my work with women, inclusivity, diversity is a very important topic. And one thing that is very promising for me is the transparency on the system, that you see how each project is opened, how principles are being guided, and you can vote together and everything is exposed in a good way. So it is a challenge and it's an amazing opportunity, just that level of transparency. But also another thing that I see and feel in the process is that you have to take into consideration so many things that you otherwise let others to think in silos, and you become almost like an executor or sometimes the victim of other decisions. But as sovereign beings, we start expanding our understanding of how even one value system is created and distributed, and you see your responsibility in it. Last month, in February, earthquakes happened in my home country, Turkey, and we all of a sudden woke up. Oh, wow, for many years we slept to our responsibilities, and this is what happened in the wrongly designed cities, with the wrongly elected people who were governing those decisions. And I believe, like Ronnie said, the sun is rising, focusing on the possibility, and like Franz shared, questioning our basic assumptions that are degrading and reducing not just only life of humanity, but all life of this planet is the way forward. And I love that now we have the opportunity with technology to onboard this journey to connect and co-create together. Thank you so much. We have a beautiful question from Maggie. This is also what was rising in me. She says, I love the mycelial framework of this, but human-centric ecosystems make me nervous. How do we include the collective intelligence of all of our relationships? All our relations. I mean, probably looking at the whole of nature and the planet, she is inviting us to consider that. Would any one of you like to answer that?
I can have a start, and then maybe my other team members can complement wherever they see it. And yeah, I think a big part of this is also to regenerate language. I think the whole word human already is sort of interpreted in many ways. I think humanity in its highest form is a representation of life itself. So I think, to say to the core of it, it would be life-centric. And, as we give value to these forms of capital, one of the foundational forms of capital that's there is natural capital. And this is also one of the things that we can now actually give value and agree on that value across communities. Same with relations, social capital, cultural capital. Now, these things can be agreed upon and not be in a market failure anymore, as we sort of just measure financial capital and let that eat the rest of the planet. Interestingly enough, a lot of the communities that find residence in our technologies tend to be indigenous, the indigenous worldview that really has values around reverence for nature, around empowerment of community, things around embracing diversity. Holistic approach to things is really sort of the people that are most attracted to our community. And these are the ones that are really in that understanding that a human in its sovereign state appreciates and is codependent or is a part of life itself. So therefore, that is a very big fundamental piece of this. Maybe pass it on to Alex or Ronnie.
Yeah, I'd add in that, we forget that humans are part of nature. We are nature. We've had this dislocation in our language, and the way we've interacted with our planet is like we're not part of nature. We are nature. And, what's been really interesting about this process for us at Hypha is, we're informed by nature. So there's biomimicry here. So the way we're organizing ourselves and establishing the structures within a DAO is following actually the cell, the biological cell. So we're starting with the nucleus, and we focus on the Dunbar number of about 140, 150 people within that organizational space, action space, orientated space. But then you also have that space around the nucleus, which is that large community, which could end up being in millions or hundreds of millions. And the way you interact and source that information and intelligence from that community down into the nucleus and then into the action space is something that we've spent a lot of time doing. So, this is very much informed by how nature structures itself. That collective intelligence is done, I think, through the cells, the cell replication, the cells informing each other, and, these ecosystems of DAOs that we talk about.
Yeah, and because the community is included into the DHO space, they can now express themselves, through what we call community proposals. And, regarding the collective intelligence, the question that was asked by Maggie, that's how we can bring in the people inside the space, for them to contribute, for them to add their ideas, their vision, and their diversity into the mix of the activities that are driven by the team, by the core team. So that's also the beauty of it. And yeah.
I also know that you invite the regenerative communities who deeply care about planet already are doing good work in that domain. So maybe there is already also a collaboration regarding the intelligence of all of our relations there as well. We are learning from each other in the DHO communities and among us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, all my life I have been working in innovation, and I have seen many different trends, come and go. And when real trends are emerging, you can see it and you can feel it because it's in your network. Yeah. So, and now we can see also, like, we are in this space also a couple of years already, and connecting to people and entrepreneurs and investors and the whole ecosystem and building ecosystem. And what I really see now is that there is more activity than ever. And a lot of the people who used to work in innovation and internet and mobile or social, they are now all coming into the regenerative space. And I just see a couple of names here, Claire Boonstra, Cathy Brooks, and Katie Lips, just of my fellow, innovation co-workers or, partners and collaborators from 10 years ago are also very interested. And Katie had a very good question that I would like to ask you because it's very relevant. So she says, thank you, this is super interesting. And she's launching a new startup with social purpose. And she's interested in setting it up as a DAO. So her question is, would the DAO model help her or hinder her chances of gaining investment? Or would the DAO model mean that institutional investment is less likely to be required for growth because of the DAO structure attracts and rewards human capital? So, which brings us to the question also on your model of how you value the tokens and how you build that system also in a very natural way. It would be good to, I think, talk about that and answer the question of Cathy.
Perhaps I should start that, given I came from that investment world. Look, I think we're at a turning point where there is, a large volume of capital which is now looking at deploying into DAOs. Why would capital be hesitant? Well, part of it is this question of centralization versus decentralization. Oh, at the beginning of a project, it feels like it might be better to have it a little bit more centralized. And, if you're too decentralized, are you going to be able to get things done? And, the way I like to think about this piece of it, because I think it informs an investor, right? He's like, who's making the decisions here? Who am I speaking to? I think, decentralization is not there to be achieved regardless of everything else. I actually think over the life cycle of an organism or a DAO, you're going to swing between various forms of centralization and decentralization. That's not to say that the DAO is not always voting to be a little centralized. It can vote to say, hey, for this period of time, I want to give a little bit more power to China and Rudy, because right now we need it to go through this certain piece of evolution, and we know they're the right leaders to take it through in a more efficient way. So I think it really comes down to how you position and how you structure the DAO to begin with. And a DAO isn't a magic solution either, right? Whether it's a company or a DAO, garbage in, garbage out, right? So you've got to get the right people who are focused with the right skill sets together. Start smaller and then broaden out. But if you have a clear mission with a key, a key group of people and it's well defined, I think that is the most important thing from an investor perspective. Now, right now, we are still, in the relatively early days of DAOs, obviously. I foresee in the not too distant future, certainly in the Hypha ecosystem of DAOs, that we will have a funding DAO. In my mind, it's called Pollinate. And the Pollinate DAO will, have a large, bunch of investors in there. And then they'll be able to look at all the other DAOs and decide where to put in capital. And so this is the really important thing, I think, to understand and appreciate, because this is a big, big prize in the DAO space. The reality is, if you're putting in capital into an ecosystem of DAOs in the Hypha world, you can see where every value flow has gone, who's got paid, doing what has been achieved. There's a transparency for this very unfashionable word, due diligence, that you have in the DAO space that you simply do not have in the traditional private equity investor, venture funds, whatever, capital into the company space. It doesn't exist. So over the long term, or even over the medium term, investors in DAOs are going to have much more transparency. Therefore, they are going to ultimately, assuming they're using that transparency sensibly in their investment process, they're going to be getting better returns. And so really, what is Hypha creating? Well, it's creating this massive platform to drive large-scale regenerative capital into the right places. And that's the transparency and secure systems allows that. So, it's early on the one hand, and yeah, you probably don't have as a bigger investor base to answer the question directly, but I think this is very quickly going to shift because, we see how the venture funds are doing, DD and, centralized systems. I mean, it's all nonsense, right? So we need to move to a world where, real work is done, and real work can be done when you can really see what's going on.
Yeah, I'd like to build on that. And thank you for that, Ronnie. And also thank you for Katie for this question, because it's really at the crux of a lot of these worlds that are coming together. One fascinating lens to see what a DAO is or what it enables is trust. As Ronnie was saying, this layer of transparency enables trust from all angles. And trust is the foundation of good business. And also when you're allowing all of these value flows to be open, it builds that trust and attracts capital, because it showcases how efficient you are actually by managing that capital. And in terms of institutional investors, the ones who are sophisticated understand that human capital is the core of any sane and effective business. So actually you will attract that. But going beyond institutional investors, it's also a huge opportunity, because essentially also what a DAO is a vehicle for collaborative impact investment. So now we're no longer limited by institutional investments. You're enabled to actually have your own token that you can actually market all across the globe and actually enter this borderless marketplace where now it becomes a vehicle for almost like crowdsourcing your ideas and enabling other forms of capital, including finance, to flow into your venture. And that becomes incredibly enabling for your business model. But more than that, I always also say it's not a either or, it's a yes and situation. Nothing limits you to, still have your incorporation wherever you are, and also have this layer of trust that allows you to, find agreements and put all of these value flows in an open and transparent framework. It's also one of the pieces of the work that I've been doing this last few years is, for example, going around jurisdictions across the world that are wanting to enable DAOs to incorporate in their jurisdictions. Because what happens there is, if you're a nation state that enables this interconnection to flow institutional money into these flows, you're going to be attracting a lot of wealth to these jurisdictions. So for example, here where I am right now in Liechtenstein, the government of Liechtenstein is making a move to create DAO vehicles for incorporation that integrate the best of both worlds, essentially allowing this decentralized way to crowdsource resources, crowdsource capital, but also enter this the best of the old capital markets, so that both of those worlds can now work together. And this is also a trend that we're seeing. Right now, countries that are getting what this potential is are being first adopters, whether it's Mauritius, where we have some network members, whether it's El Salvador, Honduras, Portugal moving forward with enabling DAO incorporations. These are going to be the first ones who are start leveraging a lot of value for their communities too, as they open up the doors for these new forms of capital creation. And maybe one more quickly thing. Rudy, one other very important thing for Katie is the ease for starting up into a new venture. This is also what Alex was saying at the very beginning. Our first iteration of this is called Organization in a Box. So there's a lot of challenges for creating a startup. What we've actually done is packaging all what you need to create a new venture, which includes, creation of shares, distribution of those shares, giving voice to those shares. It's almost like it does your whole legal, it does your whole human resources, it manages your accounting, and it manages your finance all together, all in a blockchain, open, transparent box. And that becomes, incredibly empowering, where now the reality is with a few clicks, you're going to be able to create a startup. And that startup is going to be globally scalable based on fully trust. And that's the power of these tools.
Thank you, Ronnie and Franz. Yeah, this is also our experience that we are literally on the verge of a new system design. Yeah, so as old systems are collapsing, we need to redesign the different models. And I know also that the finance world is slowly but surely will also, start to adapt to that new type of systems. Thank you for your elaborate answers on that. There was another question here from, I think it's Maggie again, are all the DHOs interwoven? So I think that's maybe something for Alex to answer.
Sorry, I'm I'm struggling with the mute button. Can she elaborate on this question? Is that the connectivity between the DHOs that she's referring to? Yeah. Oh, you're muted.
Oh. Yes, or all the DHOs or DAOs interwoven.
Yes.
How do they collaborate
Is there
together?
an interoperability problem?
Sure. So inside the network, the ecosystem that we are creating, we are indeed fostering collaboration and what we call the DAO to DAO collaboration, right? So there is a way for a DAO to directly propose services, products, to another DAO. And there's no boundaries. These spaces are much more fluid than a traditional organization, and you can, as an individual, enter into that space really easily on a click of a button, and that creates, the synergies between these different groups, through the individuals, being involved into the different spaces, the different DAOs. And I think we have there something really unique because, we are now, as soon as you create a DAO into the space, you are now connected with this entire network, and it's accessible, it's visible, it's transparent, and you can propose your product, services, you can contribute to, other DAOs. So there's no limit, if you like, in the exponential growth, in a good way, the exponential growth of this ecosystem, this network, for creation of value and impact. Franz was talking about, materializing impact. We are looking at creating an impact token that will be also really interesting for investors, I believe, and that will really materialize the good things that are being created by the network altogether. We are leaving the space of individual interest, conflicts, competition, to go to the common good space, right? And this idea that everybody can become contributor of this better world that we want to create. with different flavors, different, huge diversity, different angles. And that's a good thing, actually. The overlaps are now recognized and transformed into value creation. So
I'd just like to just riff on what Alex said and to put it into another context, which is the talent context. So the beautiful thing about these interconnected, interwoven, as you put it, Maggie, DAOs, is that you can see in one DAO, let's say you love the design work that was done by a designer. And maybe they have 10% of that time in that DAO. Well, we envisage a world where that designer may have, 10 DAOs that they spend 10% each of their time on. And the beautiful thing is it's very easy to hire that talent or acquire that talent. And not only that, we're in a world now where, that designer's not fibbing about or is not telling tales about his CV, because you can actually see what they've done, how much they got compensated for it. And so it becomes very easy for that person to move between DAOs, and it becomes very easy for those other DAOs to bring in all of this, other talent. So I think the talent piece of this is a big one. And it's, a massive, massive bonus to where we are currently, and obviously, the linear talent world.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ronnie. This is dear to our hearts in also RegenerateX. We want to honor and integrate creativity, imagination through artists, musicians, performers, and want to create cultures of collaboration across different disciplines, where also we can grow our children with such diversity of human potential and expression. I love the regenerating languages invitation of France.
There were some words that you used earlier as well, I think, really, which are really important here on the word responsibility. We are still in a meritocratic space, right? We are still in a space with accountability. Yes, no one's got a boss. No one can tell anyone what to do in a DAO. But we still have, we come with our responsibility and our accountability for what we're doing. And people are rewarded on a meritocratic basis, which I think is really important for people to understand. I think, in some places people think that, for the common good means, everyone just has to, move to some form of extreme equality. It's not about that. It's equality, obviously, of opportunity. And providing that through these systems is key.
How I see what you're saying, and my experience also with our work, where we are working with so many amazing people, I think the meritocracy, but especially the equality of opportunity is rising, because we are finding our own truth, our own passions, our own expertise and gifts and values, like nature does. No tree is trying to replace the other flower. So by focusing on what really matters and valuable and meaningful for us, we bring the best out of us in service to all life. And this is exactly how I want to raise my children, and being in the awareness of it and having the opportunities to experiment with it, and even having the opportunity to shape systems that honor and even flourish more of it. And it's in a decentralized way. With that, I want to invite also our dear collaborator, Marv, who's an amazing artist talent, but also we are working on Leaders of Voice, a program, a platform to bring voice expression in an artistic way, to bring that human creativity. Marv, you have some questions. I know you are very curious about it. Would you like to share your question directly with our guests? We don't hear you. Leaders of Voice. Give us some voice.
That mute button, it's been getting all of us. Okay, and I just want to say, first of all, it's been really beautiful to hear like the sharing be from such a heart-centered place. Like it's all about care and consideration. A lot of business leadership seems very guttural and coming from a place of let me make this happen, let me make this happen. So I just want to commend you all for leading that sort of heart-centered way and approach. And what I was wondering is how this can be used to unite and activate different causes. I know there's been some speaking around this, but for me, being an entertainer who also works within well-being and then education, and then I'm talking to people in the corporate sector, managing that as an organization and being fluid within that is sometimes quite a thing to manage as a being, and shift from one version of myself to another, and in being in that wholeness and speaking these different languages, these different cultures and norms. How can DAOs or DHOs really help to do this? And also the second topic is how artificial intelligence can be used in a beneficial way to leverage the way that communication happens between these different causes and groups. That was my question.
Yeah, I can have a first stab at that. Thank you, Marv. And really, what you're bringing up here is the core purpose of the reason why we're doing this. Essentially, what we want to unlock is the movement of movements. We're at the core of everything. You know, going back to the beginning, we've been divided in every single way that you can imagine. And at the end of the day, you know, as we combine as one humanity and realize we have one planet to live in that we all need to learn how to work together and share and make the most out of, a lot of these divisions start becoming redundant. And by being able to align around shared purpose and have that shared purpose sort of surface up in a transparent way that allows multiple groups, multiple activists to realize that, you know, by working together, we can actually come together and solve the grand challenges, really unlocks that power. And the DAO enables that. You know, we see the human as a bridge where, for example, in the design of our toolset, as an individual, you can have and you can play in multiple networks at the same time. So you're offering your time and your contribution and your gift across multiple value-based networks that at the same time start integrating around purpose. So once you build that trust, and it's easily to bring those networks together and align around essentially game theory, where we know that the ultimate game is that of collaboration. And as we do that at scale, we're leaving behind the systems that have divided us and entering a new space of radical collaboration and common understanding that can allow us to really see the world in a place of oneness rather than separation.
And I want to add that art and culture that has been, for a long time dismissed in terms of recognition of the value and the importance of the space for us human beings, is actually now fully acknowledged, in that space. And I was talking about all forms of capital, and of course, this takes part into that, and that's a really important part if we want to express joy, and move towards a higher expression of us being human beings, and I really love this shift to more recognition of the value that represents, as I was saying, art and culture.
I'll maybe take the AI piece of that question just very quickly. The way I look at it is not putting the human keeps the hand on the trigger. I think that's the key piece of how I view using AI in an intelligent form. So where it becomes very useful is we have a nucleus of 150 people working on a certain cause, and they have a community, let's say, of 100 million people. Now, when you're asking that 100 million people a question, no human can go through and sort through all the comments and understand the nuances and understand the weight of views between that. But an AI could go through that very nicely and give you a great summary of the range of views, the weight of views, and then you could take that on board into the decision process. So, that's the way I like to think of using AI, which is to inform the human, not to replace the human.
Thank you so much. We are going a bit over time, but time becomes irrelevant when we have relevant conversations, right? So there was one more question that I would like to also ask quickly, and then we go over to our closing with Marv. So the question is like, when large amounts of money start entering a space on one hand indicates growth, and historically there are players who then attempt some sort of land grab and control, great intention swayed by base human behavior. How to combat that as we move? Where is the rest of the?
Got it. We got the gist. And I can have a
As
first
we
step
move
at
more
that.
powerfully to integrate those whose entire foundations are based in decentralized models. Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much.
Yes, this is a very important question, Kathy. And again, it brings the crux of what we're talking about. Again, our culture today has been shaped by essentially middlemen where money equates power. And that's why we have lobbies and our governments are subservient to corporations. And that's why we're, sending our money to the tune of trillions to the military industrial complex against our will. So it was very important for us at the very start to have a clear system where that wouldn't be the case. And in a lot of the designs out there, as I mentioned, money equates power. So we needed to design a way that those two entities would be separate. So in the way that the Hypha DAO works is that we have a value token that represents, capital in its multiple dimensions. One of those dimensions is money. That is very separate and is disconjuncted from the voice token. And the voice token, which allows people to have a voice in the governance in terms of how decisions are made, in which direction we're moving, cannot be bought. It can only be earned through contributions. And that's a very powerful way where now we're actually signaling to the world that we're opening up for money that is in alignment to this bigger picture, which is all about eliminating the extractivism nature of fiat into new systems that are attracting capital, because now we can create new economical systems that, for example, are non-inflationary. So also for people who want to save haven their money, now they have a vehicle that allows that value to be stored in a much better place, and that value to actually create new economical systems that are higher velocity, and that also brings in more value for investors and for everybody being part of those economies without having to manipulate the outcome, because that can only be earned through direct contribution.
Yeah, not having these voice tokens transferable in any form and only earned through that specific contribution is so important. But then you move to the next stage of it, right? Whereas, okay, we have these 150 people that have this voice and can help direct, where that treasury is being spent. But at the end of the day, it's about, I don't really care about how much voice I have within Hypha, because it's what it really is about it's about the power of argument. And so as long as you have a transparent sense-making space where you can put forward your argument as to where the capital is going to be deployed, and everyone can see that, and everyone can contribute to those to that thought process, at the end of the day, best argument wins in that process. Again, as long as you have a sensible 150 people in there, and that goes into the garbage in, garbage out. You've got to have good people in there. But if you do have good people in there, you can avoid the land grabs, because everyone has to be transparent about what they're talking about. And it does go back again to this notion of purpose. If the organism has a very defined purpose, and as narrow as sensibly can be, well, then when you're managing the treasury, you're all aligned as to achieving that purpose. As that purpose broadens, or you don't agree on that purpose, that's where you're going to have the challenges of misaligned allocation of capital.
Mm-hmm. Aho, what a beautiful conversation. It was very insightful. Thank you so much. We are receiving also more questions, which gives us actually the inspiration to maybe organize a demo session for Regenerate X community and our audiences here together with Hypha. Would you like to do that, guys? Let's do a demo session. More people are coming and asking questions. So I would like to host another session where we can go deeper and hands-on. And also we want to welcome contributors, co-creators to our process. Whereas Regenerate X, we want to be really using this platform to create transparent systems of value co-creation and distribution, and working with our corporate partners, individuals, as well as landowners. And as we are organizing events, Heart Masters, we want to make our business super regenerative and transparent. And thanks to you for your guidance, inspiration, and amazing service to humanity, but also dedication to even our most simple questions. This is what I adore the most working with Hypha. They never say, "Oh, how did you ask that?" They're always there with a smile, answering my questions. And this is what keeps us going with such joy and enthusiasm. Thank you so much, guys. I truly appreciate our collaboration and partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. And before we go to the last part with Marv Radio, I would like to also mention that Ronnie Potel is going to be present in our next Heartmaster retreat in Ibiza on May 27 till June 1st. So, and if you want to join us, because it's going to be all about how can we co-create from that regenerative space, about regenerative leadership, about regenerative city design, about how can we create new models using regenerative technology, like with Hypha, and also how can we create conscious business models. So, also, if you want to follow us and learn more about us, just follow our newsletter, or you can follow us on LinkedIn page, or Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter. Just Google Regenerate X and you'll find us. And now I would like to give it to, not last but not least, Marv Radio, our dear contributor. And, please watch this, because he's a real musician of how to resume a conversation like this into something beautiful. Marv.
Thank you so much, everyone, and for your beautiful insights, energies, and questions. And thank you, Marv.
Go.
Thank you all so much. This has been such an energizing afternoon for me to feel this energy. And as an artist, I just want to take a little moment to say that I've just released a single called Another Way. And today in this visualization, and also on Sunday when I'm going to be doing a free online live event, it's about envisioning this other way. So I like to work with the voice as a medium for embodying what we truly are and transforming our inner environment, our outer environment, and the people that we see, the mirrors around us, by using our voices. And I love the fact that when we were speaking about the DAO, you were speaking about the voice token, because that's the one that I'll be shooting for. But this is going to be a beautiful meditation just to visualize and take this into a grounded reality, but also the subconscious has the power to open so many doors to realities that we can truly experience, as opposed to always being in the liminal conscious frontal cortex all the time. So if you have headphones or a speaker, I'd encourage you to use them in this process so that you can be immersed in the sound. And I know we're running a little bit late, so I'm not going to speak any longer, but I would love it if you can really tune in. And I'm really excited to be in Heart Masters this May 27th to be sharing this live with vision work, with voice activation. And yeah, so plug in those headphones or those speakers, connect to your Bluetooth, and listen to the sounds and the frequency. And as we tune into these sounds that are all created from the human voice during this call, during this beautiful presentation, feeling the experience being truly downloaded into these sounds. And take some slow, deep, patient, warm breaths. And as you breathe in, connecting to the reality that already exists, where humans connect using technology in order to serve each other, the planet, and keep balance. And as you inhale, you're drawing that energy in. As you exhale, just relaxing further. Tuning into what you're truly grateful in this moment. Anything that you can feel into reminds you of the reason that you're alive. It could be this moment, another moment in existence, but allow it to come very clear in your mind as though you're watching it on a screen. As you start to see what you're truly grateful for, allow this sensation to fill your whole body. As you begin to focus on how you can live in this future, in this present, in this moment, in a way that you are rewarded for your gifts, in a way that your gifts support the balance, the integrity, and the purity of the planet. And on this screen, start to see yourself walking around in this reality where this synergy between technology, human innovation, and technology is seamless, where information flows, where movement of movements produce movements that on a fractal basis are pre-designed to create positive systems change and a continual upgrade that allows us to be fully empowered in abundance, in love, and in unity. And now start to visualize the part that you'll play in this world. Imagine yourself waking up every day with the excitement that you get to do exactly what you love, and that thing that you love doing will serve you, your communities, and the entire world. That you'll be supported, that you'll be part of a new era of regeneration. To take a voice of leadership, to speak your truth, and to never be in another board meeting where you have to hide your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs for fear of rocking the boat, but instead knowing that the future that has already been created from your intention in this moment is one where integrity, honesty, and truth reign supreme. Taking a few moments without words to really ask yourself the question from this place of full manifestation. The question is simply, what is the first step that I can take? And this is a continual question as you move out into the world and share your beautiful heart, your beautiful mind, and your beautiful voice to bring unity and awaken consciousness to the world. Balance, fairness, and abundance. as you see that first step clearly in your mind's eye, feel it enter into your body as you move from this cinema screen into embodiment. And you make the choice in this moment and in every moment to shine your light brilliantly, to be the pioneer that you were born to be, and to create a world that serves everyone. Being an agent of the universe, you and I, virtually editing reality, serving everything. And see how we can organize together in an effortless, seamless way, a place to our strengths. Just one step at a time. As you breathe and return back to your body, give yourself the space to embody that first step, to know that you are supported, to know that you are loved, and to know that together we can regenerate this planet and have an amazing, fun time while doing so. Coming back to your breath, back into this awareness of the power that you hold within yourself. The work has already been envisioned. Now, all that is needed is to be. Thank you for your ears. Thank you for your heart.
Wow, that's great, Marv. What a great way to end this event. Thank you a lot. So we thank all our participants, dear speakers, greatly for joining us for this special session of RegenerateX. It is such a delight to meet you all. So this is the fourth of many events where experts, leaders, entrepreneurs, and regenerators from around the world come together to discuss and explore the ways in which we can work together towards a more regenerative future. So we will be continuing our LinkedIn live events bi-weekly, and you can follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram to stay connected and in the know. You can also reach out to me directly if you're interested in joining one of our Heartmasters upcoming in Ibiza and Bodrum. So we will be deep diving in these topics more there. Thank you a lot and see you in our upcoming LinkedIn live event. Bye.